Visualizing data effectively is a skill that every project manager needs to know. In this video, we'll cover the best practices for using bar charts. We'll talk about when to use them, why they're effective, and how to create them in Smartsheet. And since we're in the middle of the NFL season, I figured out how to use NFL stats for my data. Hey everybody, welcome to The Practical Place. My name is Ryan Holguin and I'm a certified project management professional, and today we're going to be talking about bar charts and when to use them. So let's get into it. Okay, so how I want to attack this today is I want to look at two different use cases of when to use a bar chart and the best scenarios in which you might want to use that. So the first use case we're going to go over is a side-by-side comparison. So this is your typical vertical bar chart where you have the bars going up and down and you're looking visually to represent a data set for your stakeholder, whoever you're presenting to. So you want to get a quick side-by-side comparison. And a lot of the times when I talk about data on this channel, it's about presenting to leaders and how leaders like to view things. So a leader wouldn't want to see a report or a spreadsheet with a bunch of data to interpret. Instead, they like to see really quick, easy to read visuals. And so that's where this bar chart comes handy when you specifically want to use side-by-side comparison. So I'm sharing my screen now. I'm in Smartsheet. I'm in my sheet that I'm going to be pulling my data from to make my dashboard, and I'm going to make it on this video. So as you can see, the first use case scenario I want to talk about is side-by-side comparison. So I already have my data in here, and we're going to be using very simple data sets. So we have passing leaders up until week 16 of the NFL season. We have rushing leaders, and we have yards per attempt for those quarterbacks that in the NFL. So as you can see, I just have top 5 for each of these. And so this is where I'm going to do my vertical side-by-side comparison to help my leader, in this case, see who is leading the NFL in these given categories. So I have my data set, I have my tab. I'm going to tab right over to my Smartsheet dashboard. So you can see it's a blank dashboard. I'm going to go to, you can either get started or edit right here. I'm going to go to the chart widget. I'm going to add my data, collapse the ones I don't need, find the sheet that I need, and so we're going to go to the first one we're going to do is passing leaders. So I'm going to select all of my data that I want to be reflected in my bar chart here. Okay, so as you can see, it's already here. I'm going to walk through how I like to make my bar chart look. This is kind of relative to how you and your organization or what your preference is. But the way that I had my data in my sheet was side by side. Sometimes you can lay them out across different columns, and that would automatically organize your data in a different way whenever it feeds right into the Smartsheet. But what I can do here, I'm going to click some of these buttons here. I'm going to switch the rows and columns so that I can have my legend be the quarterback names. And then as you can see, I'm going to do a little trick to get rid of this column 2 because I don't want it to say column 2 right there. So this is what I want just for some of the high level things. You can see it's a column. Smartsheet calls it a column chart. It's still a bar chart, just a vertical one. The title, I want to call this, I'm just going to call this passing leaders. I'm going to do 14. This is how I like mine. So I'm going to do that. I like to show my tick marks. I like all my font to be black. That's my preference, so I change all my font to black. The only one I'm not going to change to black is this one I was telling you about right here. I'm actually going to change this to white. Actually, this is vertical. Sorry. Let me go back. Go back to horizontal. I want to change my axis label to white, and then as you can see, it disappears. And then I'm just going to name this quarterbacks. There you go. I can use that as my title for the chart. I want to scale the data because, again, one of the benefits of using a bar chart is that you're showing side-by-side comparisons. And when you look directly at it right away, you can see that Joe Burrow is leading all of these other quarterbacks. And whenever you scale your data, you scale the data values, it kind of exaggerates that, and it shows the leader or whoever the audience member is right away, who's in front, who's in last. But if I uncheck this, it's a little bit closer. You could still figure it out, but I like to scale my data to make it pretty apparent as to which one is the most, which one is the least, and it just helps that way. So if you want, you can show your values in this chart. I'll just do it for this example, and then I'm going to put my legend here on the bottom to make it a lot easier because it kind of goes in order, so it makes it a lot easier there. So if I save it, you can see right away my passing leader is Joe Burrow, and in 5th place comes Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to copy this chart, paste it. It's going to copy from the same data set, but it has the same formatting, I believe. It might change whenever I select my rushing leaders. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through this really quickly again. So that's saved. This is my horizontal. I think this is white. Yep. All right, that's good. Black, everything else, and that's good. Oh yeah, I'm showing values, and there you go. So as you can see here, this is pretty apparent that, whoa, Kyrene, I might have had a typo here. Here you go. This is a good way to fact check. I'm gonna go back over here. This is supposed to be 1,000. This is good working in real time to show you guys that this isn't perfect all the time. So I'm gonna do that. I saved it in my sheet. I'm gonna refresh this, and there you go. It updated back to Saquon being the leader here. So you can see Saquon Barkley's in the lead, and then you have Gibbs in 5th place there. So visual representation, very easy there to look at a side-by-side comparison. So I also have a yards per pass attempt. I'm actually not gonna do that just because I'm gonna have 2 and 2 here. So that's a side-by-side visual chart, a vertical bar chart. It's easy, as you can see, going back here. Very easy to see. Oh, one thing I missed, didn't change the title. That would not be helpful. Rushing leaders. All right. Again, very easy to see, vertical bar charts, who's in front, who's in last. So you can use this whenever you're talking about total values of a certain category, total sales dollars against different business units if you want. Many different use cases of how you can use a vertical bar chart for side-by-side comparison. When you start to get into more data points, so let's say I had all 32 quarterbacks I wanted to measure side-by-side against, I probably won't do a vertical bar chart. In that case, I'll probably do a horizontal bar chart just because you can use less space on your actual screen, but you're going to capture all of those data points. So maybe look at a horizontal bar chart if you start to get maybe above 5 or 7 or 10 data points in your bar chart. So look at a horizontal bar chart for cases like that. The second thing I want to do is, speaking of horizontal, I want to look at a horizontal bar chart and different areas of when you would use that. And a lot of times that's going to be whenever you're talking about ranking or trends and things like that, with, again, minimal data points. Around 5 to 7 is kind of the max you want to stay around, but minimal data points, you want to look for trends. And so the way you organize your data, at least in Smartsheet, is important. So you're going to see the trend gradually grow from least to most, and I'm going to show you that right now. So here I'm going to talk about total wins and total losses for NFL teams. So here I have the total wins section, and here I have the total losses section. As you can see, it's already organized in ascending order from most to least, and same thing for total losses. So I'm going to tab back over to my dashboard. Since this is the same type of data set that I want to use, then I'm going to just copy this passing leaders one and change this right now. Total wins, measuring the total wins here, collapse that, go to my total wins section, highlight the area that I want to use, and I'm going to turn this to a bar. Smartsheet calls the horizontal bar chart just a bar chart, and the vertical a column, but they're both technically bar charts because you're using bars in your chart. So yeah, don't get too caught up on that. So I'm going to switch these. So we have the legend down here, the series down here. I think that looks good. Title, total wins, already changed that. Horizontal axis, I want to change this to white. And honestly, I forgot to change it here. But to be fair, you probably don't even need it, because a lot of the time the x-axis here is going to be the qualitative value, meaning the title or the description, and then the y-axis here, the vertical axis, is going to be more of the value of what you're measuring. So in this case it's running back, and in this case it's yards, in this case it's quarterback, your label, and then in this case it's yards. And then it flips whenever you're using the what Smartsheet calls a bar chart, or the horizontal bar chart. The y is going to be your label, and the X down here is going to be your value. So just keep that in mind whenever you're organizing your data. So it's just going to switch here. So actually what I want to do here is I want to keep this black, I believe. Yeah, but I don't even need this. So I can actually get rid of this label here because it's pretty clear to what this stuff is. Because even if I went back up here, let's go back to horizontal. I'm going to change this to white. You kind of know what I'm talking about here because the way I put my series is on the bottom. So the labeling is on the bottom, so it helps visually see an audience or whoever's looking at this see, oh, my labels are here on the bottom telling me what this is measuring, and this tells me my measurements or my value. So I'm just going to actually get rid of these labels in here because I don't need them. There we go. All right, so going back here, let's change everything else to black because I like black on my font. So that's good. I'm gonna get rid of this. Oh yeah, my vertical. That's what I need to get rid of. It's this one. No, it's not that one. It's that one. There you go. All right, so this is my title. I'm not gonna use a title because I don't need one. Here I actually could use one. I could say teams, or I could say team. There you go. So you can see it's a team. If I wanted to, I want to change my legend font to black as well. And again, we're talking about, this shows trends and in a different way. So you're going from down up, you can see it starts to get larger as you start from the bottom and work your way up. You see the Bills and Vikings are tied with 11 wins, and then you go to Lions and Eagles and they're tied at 12, and then leading the pack is the Chiefs at 13. So you see, starting from the bottom and going up, it's a trend, it's trending up. And so that kind of helps visually see that right away. Even though the audience might not be thinking about it that way, that's actually what it's supposed to help do. So I'm just going to copy this and do the inverse for total losses. So copy that same data over here. It's going to change it to a column. I'm going to go back to a bar here, switch these, Don't need that. If you start messing with that, it starts messing around here. So all of this is going to be black. This is vertical, horizontal, yep. And if you notice, when I copied my other charts, it saved some of my presets, but it defaulted back to the standard column. But some of these that I checked on, it kept that, and it kept the title, formatting, and things like that. So that's a quick way to kind of have a shortcut of what you want there. So I'm gonna get rid of both of these because I don't need, well, actually, I'll keep this. It says team. Make that easy for the viewer. Team here, and I think that looks good. So I'm gonna save that. So if you can see, I have passing leaders up here at the top left, rushing leaders top right, total wins bottom left, total losses bottom right. All these folks here have 11, and then you go up to 12 with the Giants, the poor Giants. So as you can see, there's a couple different use cases of when to use a vertical bar chart and when to use a horizontal bar chart. But all in all, the point of using a bar chart is to get, with a handful of data points, you're gonna be able to get a quick side-by-side comparison for whoever your audience member is. It helps take things in a grid format or a sheet format and turn it into a visual representation of that same data. And our eyes naturally will help our brains understand who's in front and who's in last whenever you're looking visually at this. It just helps right away. You see that, you see this is the biggest bar, you see the total number, and then you see that it's Joe Burrow. So it's really easy to follow along with. It looks like I forgot to change this. It's blue, I think. That's a high level overview of use cases of when to use a bar chart. And so now it's your turn. What data are you currently working with that could benefit from a bar chart? Share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a video. Again, my name is Ryan Holguin with The Practical Place, where project management meets real life.